Hey everyone, I'm Janet, and let's dim the lights.
Oh, the horror!
Thank you. Let's try this again. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. This is my first ever YouTube video. Thank you for being here, whoever you may be. We're going to talk about some spooky stuff. We're going to talk about all things uninviting and just downright horrific. So before I dive into it, I just wanted to briefly introduce myself. My name is Janet. I have loved horror movies my entire life. Actually, no, you know what? That's not true. I hated horror movies. The first scary movie I ever watched was The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I think I was on a date in like 8th grade. And God, I had nightmares. I had absolute nightmares about it. There's this one scene, spoiler alert, where they're walking down the street and everyone's eyes are just bleeding black. And she's standing in the rain and everyone's faces are melting. And I will never forget that moment. And I hated it. I genuinely hated it. And then something happened. Ever since then, I've just been addicted to that feeling of just adrenaline. It's kind of like going on a roller coaster for me. And a lot of people ask, well, why do you watch horror movies? They're so scary. Like, what's the point in being scared when you're trying to enjoy something? And it's that feeling of just, I feel fully involved in the process of watching the movie. Funny enough, actually, we are going on a haunted cemetery tour this weekend, and I'm very excited about it. Yeah, maybe eventually down the line, I'll take you along and things like that. I love to explore abandoned places and just do anything spooky and haunted. So there might be some content on this channel that doesn't just revolve around film and TV, but for now, we are going to focus on just talking about movies that are coming out. Some of my favorite cult classics. We'll do themes. We'll do all sorts of things. So I'm excited to go on this little journey with you guys. Thank you for being here and taking the time to listen. As a disclaimer, my opinions are completely subjective. I am not a movie critic. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just talking. So we're going to talk about We're All Going to the World's Fair. The reviews on this movie were pretty good, at least for a while. They were, I think, a 6.3 on IMDb, which for a horror movie, for all you horror fans out there, you get it. I will watch anything. My threshold is 4.5 or higher. I'm also not an elitist. I've watched some really, really shitty horror movies knowing that they were shitty horror movies. I don't care. If it's an interesting concept, I got an hour and a half to spare. So yeah, it had really good ratings. Really good ratings. I was just really excited about it. A lot of people were talking. I heard great things, yada, yada. So this film, directed by Jane Schoenbrun, is a coming-of-age horror movie, which I don't think we have seen a whole lot, and it's very reflective of the time that we're living in. The film itself was very much an indie horror film. It was very experimental with the way it was shot, and the camera angles, and the shaky handy cam, and the music even. So the film centers around Casey, who is played by Anna Cobb, and she's this lonely, isolated teenager just trying to find a community and to find a place where she fits in. And very much of the times she goes looking for that online. And she ends up playing a game called the World's Fair Challenge. And essentially you would chant 3 times, I want to go to the World's Fair. I want to go to the World's Fair. I want to go to the World's Fair. Prick your finger, and thus the game begins. And once this game has begun, you essentially are meant to document what happens to you as the game continues. And that's kind of where the community comes in, is she's watching YouTube videos of all these other people around the world who are playing the same game and documenting their own experiences. And so she starts to do the same thing. She starts to film herself sleeping and film herself during the day. And a lot of what we see is what she's showing the world. So it's very interesting because we never actually see her in any on-screen dialogues with another character. She has a father, but the father's voice is always this disembodied thing through the door of her attic bedroom. And so once again, we're really getting hit with the fact that she is alone. And along the way, she meets this other character, JLB, who is essentially watching her streams and communicating to her through Skype. And they strike up this unlikely friendship, I guess you could call it, without giving anything away. And yeah, that is essentially the premise as you're watching the effects of her playing this game throughout the whole movie. I was really excited to see this movie. I've been waiting for probably 5 or 6 months. I've had it on the back burner, so ready to watch it whenever it came out. And slightly disappointed. I think I also really hyped it up in my head, so that's on me, honestly. It's not that it wasn't great and maybe worth a watch. I would say that it was slow. Almost fell asleep during it, not gonna lie. But I think the whole point of it was to go beyond what was happening in the film and just kind of look at how it represented a very real life struggle that a lot of people go through, especially young people. It's all about loneliness. So I would give this 5.5 out of 10. I was hoping to give it a 10 out of 10. I was honestly so excited for this one. And it's not that it wasn't great. And I think that there's a lot more value in the production and the message of the film than the film itself. But at the end of the day, I just want to watch something spooky. It didn't have a whole lot of scares. Yeah. There were some eerie bits visually speaking. We all know, if you've seen the poster, you've seen her in the dark with all the goop on her face. And that moment was pretty rattling, I guess. It's just not, wasn't for me. Maybe we just recategorize this. Maybe we just call this a psychological coming of age thriller, I guess. But yeah. If you're going to watch it, though, definitely pay attention to the soundtrack. It's kind of hard to miss, but it just was incredible. Honestly, it gave it such a cold, isolating feeling. It had a lot of like ambient noises and a lot of strings and just super depressing in the best way. So yeah, watch the film with the perspective of it being a coming of age film and not necessarily a horror. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll like it more than I did. Hello?
Hi, GPS?
Oh, awesome. I'm coming down right now. That's all, folks. That's our first episode. Done. Done did it. Honestly, truly really impressed by people who can do this for a living, and hopefully it'll come a little bit easier down the line. But thanks for listening if you've made it this far, and we'll see you next week.